this is a true representation, ladies and gentlemen, of we're back. You can only be fucking back from somewhere if you were there in the first place. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Good to see you. Everyone's like going, hey, I knew there's this brand new bloody property coach in Axon that they've been talking about that we're going to introduce us tonight. And guess who's on the screen? The marketing manager, Noah.
I'm not the new property coach. Don't you guys worry about it. But yeah, this was a surprise for me as well. Robbie was like, guess what? You're coming on the live to opening the live with me. And I'm like, oh, Robbie.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, ladies and gents. You're not going to be disappointed. I am going to absolutely introduce you to our absolute superstar new property coach, Luke, very, very shortly. But I thought I've been away for a whole month, Noah, and you've basically been running the ship for us as I just swipe a fly out of the way. But yeah, I thought I'd just sort of spend a couple of minutes just to catch up with you and just sort of see how life has been with me and Tammy being away for a month or so.
Hi, guys. Yeah, absolutely. So we miss you at the office, of course. You imagine the office without the Robbie's energy. Robbie, like he always is playing, and Tammy as well. You know, so like I'm so
It started with a soldier on ball. Remember, we went to there and we had some amazing time up there. Exactly. We had the soldier on representative in our office today, Ewan.
And then we had the retreat that we went to in Noosa with the whole team. We had all the awards.
Fuck, you're skipping ahead, mate. I've got heaps of other things. Let me get there. Then we had Melbourne Cup. So this has been my month, ladies and gents. If you're wondering where this has been, not on the screen, and now I'm back, let me tell you where I've been. Soldier on ball. 2 days later, Melbourne Cup. Fuck, I had a hangover that would have killed a platoon of normal soldiers after that day. A couple of days after that, Tammy and I went to Noumea for a week with a big business networking group that we're with. I came back from, I went to Hamilton Island for a week. Then we went to Noumea. Then I went to a mate's wedding. Then we caught up in Noosa. Noah, now you've been to a couple of retreats now. It's a very, very special part of Axon. To go away for 1 week every year. What were your thoughts on this one?
I love it because, guys, like Robbie is also like a spiritual coach sometimes, and he did this visualization exercise with us, and we always write a letter to ourselves to open in the next year. And this is my second letter, my third retreat, and every time Robbie makes me cry, and I'm not the only one, he makes everyone cry. And like this is something that I even told that you have to do with our clients in the future. Like it's just so good at like mentoring and doing the visualization exercises.
Because a lot of people would have found out on my 50 questions and my 50 podcast, I like to be able to visualize and reflect. They're my two little sort of professional hacks on how I've been able to sort of get through life. Tell me quickly, I love how raw and unscripted this is. What was it like opening a letter that you wrote to yourself 12 months ago, and now you're here, and now you've had to write another one to yourself, knowing full well that you're going to open that as well?
It's crazy and magical because I needed to hear exactly what I wrote to myself a year back. So nice. I needed to read those words. And I think that everyone gets goosebumps. And it's always a wake-up call as well. Even if you did not reach what you put to yourself in the letter, it is a wake-up call to what's really important to you. So I guess that's the main the part that I take the most out of it is just a wake-up call, really. Like this is important. Yeah.
It's the ultimate accountability hack, isn't it?
It really is.
You wrote the letter to you because it's like, Dear Noah, like it's now December 2022. Like you would have wrote, Dear Noah, it's now December 2023. And certainly we've got Angie, we've got Nat, and any other the Axon team that are listening in tonight. I'd love for you to just like share with a couple of people, share with your thoughts in a couple of sentences of what it's like to write a letter to yourself and then open it 12 months later. It's very unique part of the way.
I 100% recommend this to everyone listening. Just do that. And forget about it. And then a year later, you open and you're going to be surprised with yourself. And it's you against you. Yeah.
Brenton Arthur's in the house. Benny Hinton's in the house. Good to see you two fellas. Mickey Galliner, mate, I know your house is well and truly underway now, which is good, or certainly getting to that stage. TW Sammy's in the house. Great to see you on the weekend, which was fantastic.
Great to see you, Sammy.
Then we had to, we've also had like a couple of so you and Ange went down. You represented Tammy on 2 separate awards, one here on the Gold Coast and then one down in Sydney.
Yes.
We had the CEO Magazine Awards down in Sydney. Then we went to the Prime Minister's Veterans Awards. Like, it's been a fucking hell of a month, put it that way.
Yeah. And
then
I was
I had
lucky enough. I was gonna say I was lucky enough to take care of Hank and Molly, which are the Robbie's dogs, for a few days, and I love them. Oh yeah, there they are. They're the cutest thing. Sorry, I just felt like
so good, so good. And then of course I had my 50th birthday on the weekend. So actually my hangover wasn't too bad, considering. Well, I must add lots of ice in my drinks that sort of kept me a little bit hydrated, which is good.
I really don't know where you get all that energy from, Robbie. Like, my God, you're a machine. You're unstoppable.
Yes, it has been a hell of a month. But yeah, it's been amazing. But I mean, there's been a bunch of stuff going on sort of back here in the property market as well. So Sammy saying, glad yours wasn't. Well, mate, you're an adult, Sammy. You can take care of how many drinks you consume there. Robbie Johnson, good to see you as well, brother. I got all the paperwork. So yeah, welcome to the newest member of our soon-to-be Axon Elite group, Rob and Cassie, having been accepted into our long-term coaching program. So now tonight's all about two parts. So first and foremost, we'll absolutely bring Luke into the fold shortly. Many clients over the last few months have had the opportunity to speak with and engage and be coached by Luke on the back channel. But because I've been away for the whole month, I didn't want there to be an Axon live Q&A, and then I didn't get the opportunity of actually introducing someone I know so very, very well, and is a very, very dear friend of mine, and he's a fucking absolute superstar coach. Some of the superlatives I may or may not use in a minute when I actually introduce him properly. But it's really good to sort of come back to the team though, and actually sort of see how everyone's ticking over. And absolutely things have been going, absolutely fine. And we've got Deb on the back channel. Now, little caveat, ladies and gents, we just had her on the screen before. She's a little bit like me, and I've cancelled a couple of these over the years. If I'm not at 100%, and even I've cancelled some coaching sessions, when people are wanting to put their time, effort, resources, money, and everything into like being on a coaching session, if I can't give them my absolute 100%, I'm like, look, can we just delay 24 hours? We'll do it the next day. Most people are like, yep, no dramas. Yeah. So Deb is absolutely listening. She is going to be able to contribute to some stuff from a finance point of view. I want there to be a real finance flavor about tonight's session. Obviously, interest rates going up, cash flows in place. So I want to be able to provide a bunch of tools and tips and tricks that maybe have been on the back burner over the last few years, because the interest rates have been so low and everything's been positively geared, positive cash flow from the get-go. Now it ain't the case anymore. Now we need to focus on managing the right financial structure, managing cash flow, et cetera, et cetera. So Deb's going to come and join us now. It's almost like I put a challenge out to everyone. If there's a really, really curly finance question that Deb doesn't feel as if she can do justice through her fingers, Noah will bring her in, and she's happy to jump on the screen for a few minutes and say hi. And I know every single one of you will love the opportunity, of being able to sort of engage with Deb at that human level. So that's the two parts about tonight. The rest of it's going to run exactly the same. You've got the agenda. You run the questions. This is totally unscripted. There's no for everything about what you guys want to know about the property market. So we've got about house prices and trends and finance and land availability and whatever you want, quite frankly, build time frames, et cetera, et cetera. Noah, tell me, you've got a very special relationship with Luke as well. He has been in the office. Don't
get jealous, Robbie, because he did coach me this Arvo. So we did a coaching session.
Right.
So I tested out, guys. He's a great coach. Highly recommend him. Now, don't get jealous, Robbie. You are always going to be my coach, number one. Sorry, Luke, I know you're listening. But yeah, it was great.
Loved it.
Like so much knowledge. It's just amazing. I take my hats for you guys.
But here's the thing, and for those of you that have listened to Fran's podcast, this is Luke, her husband. Yes. Fran's from Brazil. You're from Brazil. Yes. They speak Portuguese in Brazil. As you'll soon learn when sort of Luke tells his story in a second, he spent the last 5 years previous to this year in East Timor working in the Defence Attache's office. So he speaks very, very fluent Portuguese as well as Tetum, as well as English. And I'm thinking about 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I was sharing a bit of left-handed Swahili with him, but that's another story. But he's got a very unique skill. But yeah, I know that you and him, you're going to get on very, very well. What's it like, Noah, having another energy source like mine in the office?
I love it. And I think that it was like, whilst you weren't here, Luke was essential just to keep it going. I just like all the joy. You see, like, Luke, guys, he's exactly like Robbie. All the funny jokes, all the funny comments, and it's just like having the two of them there. It is a lot, but we all love it so much. We love the energy. We have a lot of fun together at the office. We work hard as well, of course. But he's
so
a
good.
Yeah.
Amana's in the house. One of our also quite new recruits. Another FNG that we have. Luke Mild is a superstar. I'm so excited for every client who'll be coached by him. Here's the great thing, Amana. Thank you, Noah. There's been a bunch of clients that have been coached by him already, and they love him. Like they really, really do. And I'm like, that's great. Like, I'm not even there. Like, that's the whole point of building a business, is that the business can run. Luke's gave me an awesome saying. By the way, I had no idea we were going to talk for 10 minutes and 45 seconds before he actually came on, but we'll get there. He goes, RT, when everyone's running or sprinting, nobody's thinking. And I'm like, fuck, that is a belter of a saying. I literally think about him every day.
Robbie's twin. They're the same brain, guys. It's so amazing. Good. All right.
It's a quick little backstory. I met this guy. He's one of my cadets that I put through Duntroon 16, 17 years ago, whatever it was. A little caveat. Everything he does right, I'll take credit for. Everything he stuffs up has nothing to do with me. You guys know that's not my style at all. I think we've sort of given him a quick little intro, already. I can't wait to release this guy to the world. He is our second coach. He is the guy who's going to be able to drive this business forward with me. And I can't wait to meet him. A lot of people, I don't have a natural brother, but one everyone sees this, they're like, holy fuck, RT, there's another brother of yours. Bring him in right now, Mr. Luke Miller.
G'day, everyone. G'day, RT. Long-time listener, first-time caller on the Axon Live. How are you, brother?
Well, this is Luke from the Gold Coast, the infamous Luke from the Gold Coast.
I'm here in the flesh for everybody. Mate, I have to say, it's been a long time to get us here to this point, but I've been extremely excited to be able to feel the invigoration of jumping on one of these. And I've been talking to some of my clients about it over the last 2 weeks, and talking about the opportunity to have for our clients to be able to engage with us with all shackles off. It's direct engagement. They can ask whatever they want, and we're on the spot to be able to answer it. So it's great to be here and join you on the first one, RT.
Mate, it's a good little point, because in our calendars, it's actually got client engagement.
Yep.
It's like we're here to give, we're here to engage, we're here to answer questions, we're how to sort of do that. So I mean, but yourself and Franny been back from Timor. I'll go through that in a second, for the better part of a year. And I reckon for the majority of this year, whilst you're going through your med discharge, et cetera, you were obviously on here listening to us go through things, and as I said, you were sort of Luke from the Gold Coast. As you were mentally preparing for today, mate, for tonight, what's your first little impressions now that we're bloody live on screen?
Mate, I love it, mate. The heart's racing. I'm excited. I can't wait to start answering questions for people. I was talking to two wonderful clients last night, Chris and Marley, and I spoke to them about it. I said, this is an opportunity for our clients, because when we go through the coaching sessions, of course, there's an opportunity for them to ask questions there. But more often than not, of course, and although they have unvetted access to us, more often than not, they'll think of things after the coaching sessions. They'll go through and they'll have an opportunity to really sit and stew on what the information that they got out of those sessions. They'll have their plan to read. They'll have their engagement with Deb. They'll be able to, really start to pull those bits of information together. This provides our clients one more opportunity to reach out to us and ask those questions that they may not have got a time, or they may not have time to allocate to themselves through the week. So, mate, my preparation for this was just be ready, be on the ball, be good to go.
The great thing about it, mate, is that you and I share so many traits, but you do you and I'll do me. Like, you don't have to be me and I don't have to be you. Like, it's such a great little thing there. Hey, so tell us, what were your first impressions of me when we met down at Duntroon? Like, let's tell everyone that sort of backstory for a few minutes, just to really go deep on how we first met.
So here we go. It was about 2007. I was a young budding cadet. I was pretty fit at the time, but there was a bloke in the college that was fitter. It was Guns and Buns Turner. He walked in with I swear to God, he used to tailor his shirts because his sleeves were so tight around his biceps. And when he was the leadership instructor for our course. So we were fortunate enough to have somebody with real leadership experience in different.
I'd literally come back from that.
Yep.
I came back straight from there down the Duntroon. So,
and so you can imagine, ladies and gents, you can imagine the amount of knowledge that somebody was able to pass on, that somebody being RT able to pass on in real time almost, to my class. So it was a huge value add. Then Then he decided to organise Exercise Shaggy Ridge.
Well, my CEO said,
Yeah.
you're a commando officer. And he's an ex-SAS guy, current SAS guy. He goes, let's put these fucking cadets through the ringer. He's like, Robbie, go and generate a bloody commando selection course for these guys, guys and girls for 5 or 6 weeks, put them through the ringer. He literally just gave me free reign. So what did that mean for you?
It meant we went through the ringer over and over again. I think probably the best way to represent how difficult a challenge that was I lost 8 kilos in 6.5 days. So you can imagine the kind of it's sleep and food deprivation and the kind of, the exhaustion that you go through. But here's the thing, as you always say, mate, it's a real test of character. It really is. It really peels back the layers of somebody's character very, very quickly when you're hurting, when you're tired, when you're hungry, and you don't know where the end is. It really starts to peel back those layers of somebody's character. So, it's one of the things that, even though it was very shit at the time, coming out the other side of that, it was always something that I look back on and a value add to my life, because I got through it. I think I got through it, with my pride intact. So, when I was bare bones. So there was that. And then, mate, I successfully graduated, as, some of you may know, and went off.
Can I just tell a quick worry? I think one of the worst things / best things I ever did to a group of cadets was when the CEO at the time is like, hey, they're all coming in like to do a bit of a debrief before they go on their final thing, spark up that barbecue. And he goes, walk around, get all the staff to walk around and ask whether they'd like barbecue or tomato sauce on their bloody hot dog. So I'm fucking flipping hot dogs with this bloody big barbecue down at Bateman's Bay, billowing through it, and the fucking smell was just magnificent. Everyone, you guys must be thinking, I fucking can't wait to get one of these things into my head, because you hadn't eaten for a few days.
So we thought it was index, mate. So they marched us all in, and we thought it was index. And, to be fair, we genuinely hadn't eaten, a puffed ink. We'd eaten a puffed ink of food, nothing over the space of 6 months. So we rock up, and RT sparking this up. And then, of course, they go, put your packs on, get up. We're walking for a bit being about 15 more kilometers.
Yeah, correct. That was,
And we were bitterly disappointed. And then, as it always does, the force multiplier, it started raining on the way out too. So it was amazing. There was a lot of love there for you at that point in time, RT.
I bet.
Knowing your hands were all over it.
Fuck this guy. But no, true story, mate. You popped out the other end there, and you and I sort of maintained contact over the years, which I found really enjoyable.
We did, mate. We touched base. Obviously, there's a bit of a rank gap between us, but there was always, a whole bunch of mutual respect, and that goes a long way in an organisation that really appreciates characters and really appreciates someone, genuine people. So, we went off on our own path, and it was about. I actually went through a process of jumped inside my own business, and that fell to pieces quite. We didn't do our own due diligence. We weren't dedicated enough. All those sorts of things that
concurrent to serving, of course.
So still serving. Project. Yep, side project. But it was at the cessation of that where that fell over that I thought to myself, money's not going to keep coming in the door, and I need to start setting myself some life goals with my partner at the time, Fran, who was my girlfriend at the time, now lovely wife. I need to start setting myself some life goals. And those life goals, I started looking down the path of property as my chosen choice to be able to, generate my own wealth capacity and my own ability to have a stable financial future. Where I fell short, and to be honest, I've coached a couple of clients recently on this, where I fell short is you just can't put in enough research, mate. Like, if you're in a full-time job, if you've got relationships, if you've got kids, there's just not enough hours in the day for you to be able to commit, to be able to understand everything you need to know about the complexities of investing in something as complex as a property, right?
And so even if you do skim the surface for an hour at night before you fucking go to sleep, how do you collate it all into something which is tangible and going to work? So yeah, I'm loving where you're going. This is a bit of self-reflection that you've got.
Oh, without a doubt, mate. Absolutely, without a doubt. But I don't lament or regret any point of it, because it's it's the things that got me to where I am today and the journey that I had to go on to learn. And I got to that point where I said, we're going to invest. We're going to jump in. We're going to pull the trigger on our entitlements, and we're going to shoot the gun on our entitlements. And then once we've done that, we'll have our first place. We'll be stable. We'll be set, and then we'll leapfrog from there. Of course, I didn't really understand the concepts around equity growth. I didn't understand the concepts around having the 7 ingredients to a healthy property market. All of those things that go into, making sure that you've got a property that is going to be sustainable in terms of cash flow to be able to hold in the market over time whilst you sit and, allow that property to grow to provide you with equity.
Noting, of course, that very first property buy is the most important one because it provides that lily pad for your portfolio. So this is a really good story, mate.
Far and away, and up front, that property's made me 10% over 7 years, and so that is a 2 out of 10 property for me. It's a 2 out of 10 decision that I made, and the reason I made that decision is because I didn't reach out, I didn't get professional help, I didn't get guidance. I thought I knew what I was doing. I was, it was 2015. So here I was, like a fucking shaved gorilla, bashing my chest. I knew what I was doing and didn't need help from anyone. Charging ahead like a bull. Got to the end of it. Gorilla.
Sorry, ladies and gents, when you're eating your dinner there, that you just got the visual of Luke as a shaved gorilla because I bloody
did. So we, my wife and I jumped out. That became an investment property, and it was still in a negative cash flow position even after DOHAS was applied to it. So that's how poor of a decision that I made, and this was in a good period in the market as well. So fast forward, my wife and I, we went back into savings mode, not understanding the requirement to have equity to be able to leapfrog into, as you just discussed before there, RT, on your first property. We went back into savings mode for deposit and costs because we thought that's what you do. That's what everybody does. Now, of course, you need to keep saving and have great money habits throughout the whole period, but we went back in for the deposit and cost mode. Fortunately, very, very fortunately, my wife and I picked up a position over in East Timor, as Robbie, sort of spoke about before, and we were a part of the Defence Cooperation Program, which is a mentoring program with their military. And of course, the allowances and stuff that goes with being overseas put us in a good position to be able to bounce back from that and recover. So it was through dedicated work in the defence to target that position, but not knowing that it was going to bring the financial rewards that it did. Once we did that, I sort of said, Fran and I sat down, and she often gives me the wise and sage advice because I'm often still the shaved gorilla that charges into the bush. She gives me that advice and says, hang on, how about we reach out and get support and get an understanding of what is out there for us to be able to reach out and utilize, to be able to put ourselves in a better position. And that's where I reintroduced at a business level with URT. So I've reached back out
into Axon, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you guys went ahead and bought and built 2 properties with us. And how was that experience? Sort of, no doubt you would have felt the same way as what you were talking to with the clients now. Is this going to work for me?
Yeah.
Are these guys real, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Mate, especially imagine being a client with not a bitter taste in your mouth, but the first one you pull the trigger on with all your entitlements, and you're excited about building this portfolio because you think you've flipped the switch on moving forward and in your financial future, and it just doesn't pan out. And this is off the back of a failed business venture. So I'm going, that's 2 from 2, Millwood. You've nailed this.
The Franny must be like, these fucking blokes you're introducing me to, they better work like this Axon mob. Please tell me, Luke, that this is going to be okay.
First one, we jumped in, and the first one went rolling, and it was smooth sailing. It was 4.5 months. It was we were supported, we were educated, we were guided, we were handrailed. Now this is all while I'm in the third world in East Timor, a country that I hold near and dear to my heart. But I'm over there. There's not much internet access, and it's very broken. My ability to engage with full coaching sessions was very difficult. My ability to work through the support mechanisms that are a part of the Axon Property Group, that kind of made it more challenging for us to be able to go through. Even though that was the case, when we got to the end of the build, we were so fucking happy with the support that we got. We were so happy with the outcome that we achieved. The days till it was rented. Days on the market was fucking. It was a 15th of days.
Yeah.
So we decided to jump around and go around again, go around the second time. So that's how happy we were, ladies and gents. Was we not just once but twice within the space of a couple of years, 2 years I think it was, RT. We lined up our second property.
Yeah.
That then we knowing. Fast forward a couple of years after that, so a year or 2 after that, mate, I knew part of the reason that I went to Timor was that, I've got a shot bunch of joints and a shot bunch of body parts and stuff like that, a couple of fake bits. And so I knew that my time in the military was coming to a close. It was imminent when I came back and had to be exposed to the medical review systems and all that sort of stuff. And so you and I were in contact for about 4 years before that, talking about it as a possibility. But it really started to become a reality, sort of in the second last year and the last year of being in Timor. And I'm so grateful and so I feel blessed that you and Tam held the position. It was almost like if there's an opportunity here, there's an opportunity here, there's an opportunity here. And some of you will know, ladies and gents, is my time in Timor was extended by a year and then by a year. My wife and I sat down and thought, this has been such an amazing experience, like literally life-changing, putting us in a position where we don't just have a lemon, flogging along. We've got, a portfolio now that is growing, that is sustaining itself, that is, all of those things that you want out of having that support on your side. I said, why not give our clients the opportunity to, not my clients at the time, why not give other people the opportunity to feel that same way? And she absolutely wholeheartedly agreed. So much so that she's also inside the business now. So
she beat you, mate.
Yes, she did. She actually did. She actually did. I think it was April this year she jumped in. And so she's showing me the ropes at work now.
Gold, mate. I love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they come and join the business, they sort of get to it. They understand how much work goes on in the back channel to be able to provide a 2 or 3 minute phone call as like a snapshot and a bit of an update. There's so many other calls that go into making that occur, but and certainly when we decide, so it's actually weird. You've been on the Orbat to come and join Act. Like, this has been a long time coming. This has been 4 years coming. This is a momentous day. This is not your first day in the office. You've been here for a couple of months. But certainly you did a bit of on-the-job training whilst you're waiting for your med discharge to take place, not on the books, et cetera, et cetera. So, making sure that all that other stuff was not being diluted, which has worked out really, really well for all parties. But mate, it's so good to have you on board now. And it's a real opportunity and a real, it's going to be such a fantastic life that clients get to have with you as their coach.
Mate, thank you so much for saying that. It's as people can probably tell, and my clients that I've already been blessed enough to have an opportunity to start coaching and sharing my knowledge and supporting them through their journey. I absolutely love this. I am as passionate about this as RT is. I'm as passionate about it as all of the team are. It's incredible to have such a team that is so synchronized in their passion towards what we do. It's very, very rare out there. It's rare in the military to have that, but even more so in the civilian world.
Yeah, so good. Corinne Folkson said, love the lives. Mickey Gunston's in the house. Good evening, gents. Awesome to see some other fellas on the screen there. All right, mate. So this is the crux of it all. And it doesn't surprise me that guy, Benny Hinton, has come up and said, see, here's the thing. Luke from the Gold Coast knows who that guy is because you were listening back in the day, mate. Righto. What's the state of the construction industry? I've seen some properties not needing to wait lengthy periods for frames. Are things starting to return to pre-COVID states? Mate, you live and breathe this with me every day. Like, let's go. Over to you, Luke. What's your answer on that one?
So we, as most of our clients will know, we work across a bunch of areas throughout Australia. So we don't just work in Southeast Queensland. We've got places down in New South Wales and some down in Victoria as well. And Robbie and I talk about this almost on a daily basis about how the sentiment that we are getting across the board from our builders, and that's a wide range of builders, is that things are freeing up. So we're starting to see the supply chain, so that being the international and domestic supply chains, starting to free up from their back channels that they had. The war in the Ukraine had its initial impact. COVID had its long-lasting impact. That, of course, created long delays in the industry. Excuse me. What we're seeing now is all of those are starting to free up, and it's starting to turn back to the point whereby, tradies are going to the builders looking for work, as opposed to, the other way around, where a builder was not begging, but, going to their teams of tradies and saying, please, please, please get this done. So for me, the state of the construction industry right now is that it's absolutely, I wouldn't say 180, but it's on its way back for normalization of build times. Normalization being not 12 months, coming down to, around the 6 month mark is what we're starting to see.
Yeah. There are a couple of specific projects though, whereby if a builder is building 6 or 8 terrace homes in a row, Then, of course, you've got 6 or 8 of the same headaches at the same time. 2-story scaffolding that needs to go in place, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, when we're talking just, Benny, if you're talking, Benny hinting at this, if you're talking just freestanding houses, what Luke just said then is absolutely the case. Yeah. We've got one builder that's in our posse that we've been working with for about a year. That's only like the two directors of the firm have been in the building industry for 15 years. They've now joined forces. Bang, they bring hundreds and hundreds of homes of experience together. They've now got awesome crews that they've all been working with together. Yeah. They're smacking out houses in 4.5, 5 months because they don't have the latent builds from back in the day where the land registered. So the EOIs were put in 18 months ago. The land's just registered. They priced a bloody house 18 months ago. It's now 70 grand bloody under build, and they're sort of they're chasing their tails a little bit on those particular builds. But yeah, most of the other builders, well, the 4 other builders that we use here in Southeast Queensland have all come out really, really blossoming. So, mate, it's a good state of the market to be in. And even land availability is the same. We were literally, myself and James, one of the other property specialists, we're talking to some amazing clients on the call last night, and they're like, before Mick and Carly, by the way, and they were basically saying, look, we want to get started straight away. And I'm like, well, luckily we've now got blocks of land and packages that will get started, pretty much putting EOIs in the next couple of weeks, land register in January, you'll be done by mid next year. This time a year ago, we're like, put your EOI in, we'll see you in 12 months' time. There's no blocks available. Such was the demand. So for me, it's not all about what's the state of the market, Ben. For me, it's about trends. What have I observed? What things have occurred from a compounding nature, which then form a bit of a trend, which means we can do some analysis and understand what the next few months might look like. So hopefully, Benny, hitting that has given you a bit of an insight anyway, mate.
Just on the as we're talking about the development and areas, I'd say when we're talking about the demand being so high, we had the government grants coming through that also increased demand at that particular period in time quite significantly. We had a huge amount of migration, particularly I'm talking now referring more closely to Southeast Queensland. There was a huge amount, over 100. Over 100,000 people have migrated to Southeast Queensland over the last couple of years. That was then compounded dramatically by the climate issues, that the rain and the weather that we had here with the 2 La Niñas, year on year. If the ground's muddy as shit, you just can't develop it. You can't get your heavy equipment out there, and so that was causing backlogs and causing us delays to be able to get people get people to put in EOIs on blocks or get for the land register. But now we're seeing that free up. Is the short of that.
True story. My wife Tamara, tradies. Call it Tammy. You're not in trouble tomorrow, Tammy. Tradies, just reading the screen. Tradies are still the biggest issue, but I believe it's definitely better. Absolutely. Fran from the Gold Coast is in the house. The Wilkinsons are listening to. Benny Jefferson, fuck. G'day, legends. Mate, if you want to know about a legend, Luke, I can't wait for you to have a buddy chat to Ben. I'll never give you him as one of my clients, Ben. Like you and I, mate. We've done a podcast together. I'm not farming you off to Luke, far from it. But mate, we want to talk about fucking good blokes. There's one right there. And Benny, with some difficult things going on in Axon earlier in the year, thank you for your support, mate. Like your words of wisdom and some profanities, which made me feel better, were absolutely very well received, buddy. So it's amazing that someone like you reaches out to me to make sure that we're okay. And Benny Hinton said, so things are moving a bit smoother, but at a higher price. Mate, Ben Hinton, that is, fucking too many Bens on the screen. Never enough Bens. It's about 100 grand more now to build a single story house. What was 250 is now 350. What was 260 is now 360. Now, there's one particular builder that we're on the list with, but we don't really do too much business with them because they build in areas that we're not concentrating on. They're like, hey, some of the supply and demand dynamics are starting to loosen up a little bit. Prices for wood and prices for timber and prices for bricks and prices for concrete are actually coming down a little bit. So, I think it's going to take quite a while for. So here's the thing, when prices are going up, the builder's got no choice but to pass that on straight away. Otherwise, they're literally just dipping in their pocket. But when prices come back down a little bit, I think the builders will, they're not going to snap back. They're not going to wipe 100 grand off a house, buddy, all of a sudden. It's almost like the banks. As soon as it's going to cost the banks money from an interest rate perspective, bang, they pass it on to you. But that interest rate should also be passed on to you to make more money on your money sitting in a savings account. That takes a few months to filter through.
Yeah. And there's also the case of, the builders that they are genuinely running a business as well. They have worn a lot of hurt over the last 18 months. It was the profitless boom, as it's been called, in the media for the builders particularly, whereby, house prices are going up. Everyone that has houses in the market, investments and PPORs in the market for that matter, they're making equity on their properties. But here's the thing, when the builders, when they had a bunch of fixed price contracts or they weren't able to sort of absorb over the numeracy of builds that they had, they're in a position now where they might be able to, or they will be able to start catching that back up. But of course, as we know, supply and demand and, as basic economics, once one builder starts bringing their prices down and are able to do it for a lower price to be more competitive, then then they're going to have to do that at some point in time, or no one does it and we stay status quo.
I'm already telling them, I'm like, fellas, start fucking sharpening your pencils. I know that shit is not costing that much anymore. So thankfully, there's been no more price rises coming our way. So that's been good. Benny Hinson says Ben's are the backbone of the nation, mate. They absolutely are. And watching the Luke and RT go is spooky. They bounce. Well, mate, that's what brothers do, mate. That's what brothers do. But here's the thing, Mickey Galliner, mate, thank you for your comment. The builder that I just referred to that's only been, building houses with us for about a year, that's got 15 years experience, they're building your house. You're now saying, I was surprised with the progress on our lot, very impressed. So I guess, it's a bit of swings and roundabouts. I'm very, very well aware that we've got about, let's say 15 clients or so that are building amazing 2-story, beautiful modern terrace homes in a particular estate in the Sunshine Coast. I'm also very well aware that they're about 5 months over build right now, and you guys are paying interest on that loan. It's fucked. I know. That's a technical term for not progressing very well, just in case you wondered what the context was. I get an update from the build support team every single week, and I'm just as disappointed and I'm just as frustrated, and I feel your pain just as much. You guys don't care, but Tamara and I are building our own home here on the Gold Coast, and we're almost a year overdue. And your eyes would fucking water if you knew the interest I was paying on that. So I can empathize with you I can't even put into words. But here's the thing, and I know it's only on paper for now. When the house is built, you're going to get so much more rent come in the door. Fuck, a 180 square meter home up in the Sunshine Coast got rented for $690 a week. That's a 4-bedroom dwelling, single story. The first round of rent they got was $490 18 months ago. So it's gone up $200 a week in rent alone. So there's going to be more cash flow coming your way, which is good because interest rates have gone up. Because I do want to talk about finance and cash flow and everything very shortly. But please rest assured, every single coaching session, and Angie and myself that have been doing the end of build coachings, and you've seen on my success stories that I write personally every single week, 100 days construction days, 120 days construction days. When we do the end of build coaching and they've got a tenant in there paying the mortgage for them, and it's 100 grand more in capital value than what they paid for it, and the build is over, they don't give a fuck about construction days anymore. Now, I know it's a bitter pill to swallow for those in the fucking fight right now trying to get a house built ASAP whilst you're bloody bleeding cash paying interest on the mortgage. But please rest assured it is going to be okay at the end. I can only talk about from personal experience and the other clients that I'm sort of speaking to. Go for it, Luke.
And here's the thing, our clients that are in that position, of course, we empathise with you and RT and Tammy more than most, with the situation that you've got. But here's the thing. The builders want to finish this product too. The builders want these houses done as well. So it's not, it's not a case where personally they're sitting there going, we're not going to build your house. The builders don't get paid until the house is done either. So they don't start making their profits until the back end, until the last stages of the property. So, please be rest assured that whilst it is a shitty situation that it is right now, we empathise with you absolutely. But be rest assured again that after it is completed and the build's complete, as RT said, those emotions, those feelings will start to wash away when you've got the tenant and the tax man paying off your property for you and you're holding that property in the market whilst it continues to go up in value.
Yeah, 100%. Ben Jefferson said, do you think interest rates will hold now? Oh, mate.
Crystal ball.
All of us have got a mortgage, Ben. and I know you've been in the property market for quite a while as well, yourself and your amazing wife Laura and your family. Again, I just go back to trends. I think the times of 50 basis points or half a percentage rate at a time are definitely over. You saw even yesterday was only 25%. First and foremost, the reason why interest rates are going up is to slow the booming economy.
Yep.
And I was just listening to the news up there. They're like, the economy only went up 0.6% this month as opposed to 0.9% last month. I'm like, because of house prices, the cost of living's going higher and the cost of energy. So I'm like, that's what's supposed to happen. When the interest rates are going up, you're supposed to have less disposable income to stop buying shit, which is fucking fueling the economy. So I guess it's a real Peter and Paul circumstance. But the fact that there's cost of living pressures right now, that's the lever that the RBA has pulled. Do I think that the 2 to 3% CPI or inflation rate is going to go back to that amount? I think it'll come back and it'll sit at 4 to 5%. That'll be the new norm for me. There's a post-COVID world, there's a pre-COVID world and a post-COVID world. We all know that. Life has changed forever since then. It'll go back to normal, but it won't be the normal from a pre-COVID sort of perspective, including house prices. So I think there might be some small increments, Ben, that'll happen between now and mid-year, and that's when things will stabilize. I can only go on what I fucking read and see and listen to probably on a bit more frequent basis than most other people because I live in this world. I'm not an economist. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not providing advice. I'm in this with you, like you all know. Everyone on this chat, every single person, including the Axon team members that have all got a mortgage themselves as well. We all want things to settle down, and once things settle a little bit, it might sort of drop back. But here's the thing, and I haven't had a chance to sort of pass on this analogy in this forum. When I joined the industry 9 years or so ago, interest rates were the same stage as what they are now. Yeah. Well, until yesterday's tipped it over, but yeah, it's at 10-year high now. But before that, it was at the same rate it was 9 years ago. So for me, that's just normal. And people were buying, selling houses. There was a healthy mix between negatively gearing, a bunch of money coming back in your tax flow in your tax return, and then you sit at around about the neutral cash flow, negative cash flow, or maybe slightly positive. But it's costing you 20, 30, 40 bucks a week to hold a $600,000 asset in the market, buying house with your lunch money, as someone else calls it. Then interest rates went down, all the way down to 0.1%. So those people that have only been in the market over the last couple of years, your experience as far as interest rate goes are very skewed. Now, for me, interest rates haven't risen. They've just come back up to normal. This to me is quite normal. So as I did turn 50 over the weekend, I do have another year under my belt, another indoor cricket season that I can chalk up. And I do have another year worth of perspective as far as trends go in the market, in the property sector. So yeah, please, ladies and gents, when the wind changes direction, don't catch a cold. If you should be in this for the long term, exactly what Tammy said there, you've got to think long term. And when you're in your accumulation phase, remember if you think about the 4 stages of property, prepare, accumulate, consolidate, and then enjoy. The very first point, go back to the fundamentals of the videos that you watched before you probably even spoke to us back in whatever your day was. In your accumulation phase, I said 2 things. You need to focus on strategy and structure. And this is the reason why. No one gave a fuck about structure, 2 years ago when interest rates were like 2.5% for an investment. You're like, ooh, fucking positive again. I don't know what he's talking about fucking structure. I can structure my portfolio however I want. And it's still going to cash flow really, really well. Now we're back to basics. When a new CEO comes into a unit, let's just be brilliant at the basics, ladies and gents. Righto, fuckface. I heard that fucking from the last CEO. But yeah, it's really important that we focus on having the right financial structure in place to manage cash flow, because buying time and thinking long term is the name of the game. It's the only fucking thing that matters. Or you get yourself into a position where you need to kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. And if you have to sell a property based on the wrong structure and cash flow, and you can't buy time, thanks Tammy bleep, you'll hate yourself when you get to 50. You're like, fuck, I should have done everything I could to keep hold of that property.
And doesn't that resonate with everybody out there that it's so much? It is so much more important now to get the right property in the right location at the right price point at the right timeline under the right structure, so whereby we do have the capacity to hold that asset in the market over time. It's not just about buying that property, as RT was just saying before. It's not just about bringing that into our lives. We need to be able to hold that asset over time so that we are able to gain off it, as per our coach's planning that we go through. So it's even more important now to have a coach and a team on your side to be able to ensure that you are structured in the right way, with other support agencies like Deb, et cetera, whereby they can sort of make sure that we're sorted out and that we're able to hold the asset.
CJ Wynn, you literally take Luke, at pointing at the screen, and as you were talking, have a look what CJ just wrote.
Thanks, CJ, mate. It's absolutely true. Like we live and breathe this, and you don't go to the vet to get your teeth pulled out. You don't go down to the.
They do.
You go to the professionals. You go to the professionals that sit there and work and do this every day. Okay, you go to an accountant to get your finances sorted out, to get your tax returns sorted out. You come to Axon to get your life strategy sorted out, to get your plan sorted out, to have clarity over what your future options are, so you can, when you choose to take action, you put yourself in the best position to succeed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I covered off on this. Benny Hinton, economists believe it'll go up still. I think it'll probably peak about mid next year, and then we'll see things start to balance off a little bit.
It will, and here's why. It is an archaic lever that the RBA has always had. The RBA, for those of you that don't know, is the agency that is charged by the government to manage inflation. So they have the responsibility to speed up and slow down the economy. And as RT was saying, the way they do that is by increasing or decreasing the cash rate. If they push the cash rate up, it makes it more expensive for people to borrow money, and they can't afford it. They bring it back down, it frees up money in the money supply. When they do that and increase those interest rates by 0.25 basis points, whatever it is, to be able to meet the inflation requirement. Think of the economy like a steaming ship. It's heading at full charge right now, particularly coming out the back end of COVID. Right, they start throwing anchors out. It takes those anchors a bit of time to hit the bottom. Okay, so you've got a huge portion of Australia is on a fixed home loan. It doesn't impact them immediately, so they're still paying their normal interest rates. As over those 18 months, they start to peel off. And of course, when they have to go through the refinance and renegotiation with their bank, thank you, Deb, for all the assistance you provide our clients while they do that. That's when it starts to hit their pocket. So it actually takes a fair chunk of time whilst we're going through that action for it to really catch up to the economy. What I am hoping is that we don't get to the end of that and there's 4 or 5 anchors out and we start to skid along, rapidly and pull up. We all get whiplash. I don't want that.
That's a true story. Just quickly, Carly Gunston said, now I know who to blame for my youngest using the F word in context. Notice how I used it then. Must have picked it up from listening to your podcast. Yeah. So team that's listening, Mick and Cut, like the little shout out, and I had permission from them last night to do so. I passed on their feedback about them listening to our podcast, almost religiously over the last few weeks. And it was just so humbling to know that people want to take time out of their very, very busy schedules to listen to this, me interview someone else and drawing off about stuff. So yeah, it's bloody awesome. Noah, just on that point, can you perhaps chuck in there? I don't want this to pass people by. Tammy and I recently did the 50th episode of our podcast. There's a part 1 and a part 2 whereby she asked me 50 questions. Luke, you've listened to that. Did you find you would have found out things about me you didn't know?
Mate, you've always got things in your back pocket, little secrets that we find out. You drip feed us along the way, mate. You just drip feed us as we go. Little bits to keep us interested.
So good. Hey, so we know that interest rates are going up. We've spoken about house prices. House prices have stabilized for increases and shock increases from the builders. That's all been ticked off on. Land supply is now coming our way. We've got blocks that are registered. Like we've got access to registered blocks right now, which is fucking something that hasn't happened for the last couple of years. Cash flow is now the number one priority to make sure we put the right financial structure in place. The first thing that springs to my mind anyway, which is the easiest tool to use, is your offset account.
Yep.
Now, if your interest rate is at like 6%, whatever it is, some are at 4.5, some are at 6.3, everyone's personal circumstances and the lender they're using and the loan to value ratio, whatever else impacts on that, right? But generally, that's the spread that we're seeing. When you have money sitting in your offset account, I'll go back. Money sitting in a savings account makes you money, but the banks are only giving you 2.5%, 3% interest that you earn on your money. They're charging you 5.5% for your mortgage, but they're only giving you, say, 2.5%, 3% in your ING high savings account. Now, that's great if you want to try and make money have your money working for you, and you're getting 2.5% return. Now, you got to pay tax on that money because it's an income. So therefore, you can shave off 30% of that straight away. So now you're not getting 2.5%. You're getting whatever 2.5% is minus 30%. Right? Too many percents in there, you get the fucking picture. It's bugger all. Like having your money in a savings account is fucking going backwards. But if you have your money in your offset account, you don't make money. You plug a hole in your bucket that's got 6%. So you stop yourself paying 6% interest.
Yep.
It's a real mindset shift here. Every dollar you have access to should be sitting in your offset account right now. Not the share market, not fucking any bonds market or a fixed bloody term, getting you 2.5% of which you got to pay tax on. Put it in your offset account, and it's guaranteed, whatever interest rate, you're guaranteed not to have to pay that amount on your interest, because interest is calculated daily and then billed to you at the end of the month. I have not banged on about offset accounts for the last couple of years. I'm like, put all your fucking money in the share market, because your offset account, you're only paying 2.3% interest on your mortgage. Fuck that. Go earn 5% in the share market somewhere. But now it's a mindset shift. Now the pendulum swung. Not a financial planner. I'm giving you a tip, a hack, something like you can take away tangible with you, which is guaranteed. Put your fucking money in your offset account and then live off an interest-free credit card. Luke, you've seen this dozens of times, mate, and I know this is the exact same way you run your portfolio. It's a real no-brainer, isn't it?
Mate, it's a no-brainer. There's another slug in the guts that most people don't think about. You know, when we're talking about having money in a savings account, whereby, yep, you have to pay tax on that interest that you're earning in that savings account, which, 40% of it is gone straight away. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the cost of inflation each year? So you're actually going backwards with your real purchasing power, because inflation now is stemming along 6%. If you're getting 2.5% that's been slugged by 40%, that's too many percents. You fucking know what I mean. Right? Yeah. If you're getting slugged by that, and then inflation is at 6%, you're going backwards in your purchasing power. Put it in your offset account, save yourself that interest that you're paying, okay, and put yourself in a better position so that your money is working for you. Yep. The second little hack that we'll go into. RT, do you want to talk about PAYG variations?
Mate, I'd love you to do that.
Yeah, please. Okay. So what we have, ladies and gents, when we go through our structures and our planning, we want that cash flow for us. We want to be able to optimize that cash flow so we're not forking out of our pocket each week and then reducing our capacity, to live our lives while we go through and hold these properties in the market. Most people in Australia, the average Australian, will go, sort of around mid-year. They'll throw in their tax return. They'll get their tax back, and it's usually a pretty handsome sum if you're a property investor, and you're talking sort of somewhere just shy of 10 grand at the moment for a new property, right? Obviously, depending on individual circumstances, etc. What we can do is, if our requirement to service that mortgage, service that debt, is higher than what we can afford in our cash flow, in our disposable income, we can submit what's called a PAYG variation, which is we provide a submission to the ATO, whereby they take your cash and non-cash deductions, the known cash and non-cash deductions, over that 12-month period, and they apply it to your salary or your wage on a fortnightly basis. So instead of getting that significant lump sum back in your pocket, in July, of each year, what you get is each fortnight you actually pay less tax out of your payslip. Okay, so what does that do for you? It frees up cash. Okay, that's another little tip that helps our clients, because we're talking somewhere in the vicinity of $170 to $190 a week in some cases, whereby that cash is back in your pocket and assists with the cash flow for to sustain that property. Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. Again,
no-brainer.
A lot of people are like, oh, I'd rather have the big, tax check at the end of the year. And that's fine.
And that's fine, yep.
But you're missing out. Like, you don't have, why have the money sitting in the tax account, have it sitting in your account, in your offset account, and Absolutely. It's working for you, and you're paying less interest? It's like a fucking triple whammy bloody self-licking ice cream.
It is absolutely, and it is one of those mindset things to do that. But some people do like that feeling when you've got that, when you get that cash back and you're able to slug that off your home loan. But here's the thing: when you're operating with your heart and not your head, you're potentially not putting yourself in the best position. That's why you have us two bullfeds sitting here coaching.
And you got to get your Axons working properly for you. It's a mindset change. You don't. Yeah, like you're going to save, like cumulatively, you'll be better off at the end of the financial year as opposed to waiting for a big fat tax check.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, let me just go through these quickly. Mickey Gunston, awesome podcast. Robbie and Tam, some great insights to you both, which is great. My mum said she's watched it on both parts on YouTube. Jeez, Mum, I'm bloody impressed you even know what YouTube is. No, I love you lots. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Very informative. Benny Hinton, no savings account pays you more than debt interest. Otherwise, people would borrow money to put in a savings account. That's absolutely true. Josie Johnson's in the house. Ola, love it. And then Francine, very insight. Cash flow is key. All right.
Can I just touch on one more? Is that all right? Please. I just want to touch on one more. We've got another holding strategy, another tip that we put in place, particularly in the first couple of years when we bring these properties into our lives. Okay. What that tip up front is instead of having a principal and interest loan, we slide that loan into interest only for the first 2 to 3 years. And the reason that we do that, of course, is because it lowers the requirement for you to service that debt. Okay. So you've got the tenant and the tax man paying it off. You lower the requirement to service the debt. The property is still going up in value. So your loan to value ratio is still becoming more positive from where you are, but you're holding that property in the market. It's not until the point where we get into debt reduction mode, whereby we need to start focusing on bringing those home loans down. Okay. So that puts us in a better cash flow position to be able to continue to hold these properties in the market for us.
Mate, give him some love, ladies and gents, in the chat right now. Give Luke a bloody round of applause. Like, you don't just jump. Like, every single person, including all of my team, gets a real tummy bug. Noah, can you jump back online again for the last couple of minutes, please? Luke's going to go right. He's got another call at 7:30. But I'd love to know, Noah, what you are thinking about Luke. How good was that? We can't hear you, buddy. Take yourself off mute. Oh, she's eating too. I'm sorry.
I was like snacking. You always do this to me, Robbie. Always out of script, guys.
I'm glad you still got your shirt on. Put it that way.
Oh my God, I'm standing now. So Luke this week he came up with a post. He helped me to come up with a post of a real life case study of an interest only case study.
Yeah. Love
so
it.
I'll just share the link now.
Thank you, Noah.
So you guys,
Benny Hinton, bull out of the gates, bloody nailed it. Rick Carina, great job, mate. Thank you for the birthday love as well. Mick, well done. Luke, amazing information. Yeah. And you know what? I actually spoke to one of the builders today on the way home from getting another block of land. He goes, that fucking post you put on, this is how he said, right?
Yeah.
He goes, that is so crystal clear. He goes, where did you get that from? I'm like, my amazing marketing team spoke to Luke and they created it together. So yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
Good.
It is a very cool real life example. And yeah, I was blown away by it because from a cash flow point, they're like for 2 to 3 years by using the interest only, like this couple, they're not paying anything on the property.
Yeah. So 3 key tips, 3 takeaways. Use your offset account religiously. Put your PAYG variation order in place. You need to do that with your accountant. When Luke said we submit, what he said is your team, us as a team.
Yeah.
And of course, make sure that you're paying interest only where you possibly can. Speak to Deb. Everyone's circumstance is different. Like if you're 55 and you're going to start getting a mortgage, you can't go on 30 years interest only. Put it that way. So, everyone's different. But yeah, do whatever you can to make sure that you are putting the right financial structure in place so you can hold those properties over the longer period. The GM said, good job tonight. Great job tonight, Luke. We should keep you. Yes, he's not going anywhere, Tam. Luke, well done, brother.
It's easy to do things you love. It's, when you know what it's like when you get up and we put our Axon cape on and we go to work. It's easy to do things that we love, So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 100 years, mate.
And you guys, you even haven't touched about the new Doha's changes.
Oh,
mate, holy shit.
Guys, everyone's seen a video and the email and our post about that. Go back and check it all out, team.
Go back and check that out. It's actually, it's of huge benefit to defense. It really, of course, again, everybody's circumstances are different, but we need you to, jump in and have a look at that. It could be a difference between you being able to pull your trigger. If you're in one of those locations that have the 7 ingredients to a healthy property market, it could be the difference, the changes that the Albanese government's
100%.
made.
Especially where the interest rates are going up. Sells the Doha subsidies. Love yous all. See you later. See you next fortnight, isn't it? Next week, Noah.
Next Wednesday, we have a special live.
Special Christmas edition. Please don't miss it. Next week.
Don't miss it. With the
See
whole
you, Deb.
team.
See you, Luke. Thanks,
Bye.
team.